Hey everybody, welcome to the Demigoddess channel. If you guys don't know who the Demigoddess is, that is me. So, what I need you guys to do, I'm going to break down the little house rules for you guys. What I need you guys to do because it's free. If you are a returning member, welcome Butterfly Nation. You already know how I feel about you, slash the intellects. And then make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel if you are a new person that stumbled onto my lovely page because I do drop multiple times a week. So if you're looking for somebody that is consistent, that is me. And I'm a small creator. So welcome aboard as we build up this brand, okay? But what I need you to do most importantly is make sure you drop a comment or make sure you give me a thumbs up because that helps me get on the algorithm, okay? Just watching my stuff, yeah, that helps a little bit, but what really helps is in thumbs up, okay? Because that's letting YouTube know that you're enjoying my content and that you like it, okay? And that really helps a lot. All right. Now, today we have hot topics, okay? So today on the hot topics, we got Chris Brown. Is he the new Michael Jackson of this era? We have Little Uzi Vert, okay? He's the new Prince of this era. And then Lotto talks about BBL pressure. We're also going to talk about Nipsey Hussle as well and Marlon Wayans as well. What's going on in Crenshaw? Okay, in the Crenshaw Slauson district, okay, with Nipsey Hussle and what's going on with Marlon Wayans and how he supports the LGBTQ community. And he's tired of y'all coming for him and his baby, okay? So it is what it is. Now let's go ahead and get into, I want to go ahead and get into the Lotto situation. Now, I'm going to get my input on that. And then as always, y'all know I love to have the receipts for you guys. All right, here's Lotto.
I don't know. My body was salty. I gained a little weight. Because I signed my deal when I was 21, when I had just turned 21. And I was just having money and like living a whole new life, eating out. Yeah, I know I'm a foodie, so now I have the funds to like feed this foodie in me and stuff. So I gained a little weight. And everybody on the internet was calling me bad body and stuff. So I feel like that played a role. I started being a little insecure about my body, I guess. And yeah, people were saying I'm built weird, but like looking back, I mean not weird, but it was like, oh, you built like yo white jeans. That was just saying some dumb shit. And I was just young and impressionable. I don't know. My body was salty. I gained a little weight. Um, because I signed my deal when I was 21, when I had just.
Here's my thing here. Ladies, you shouldn't let other people, and I get it because I'm a girl too. I had my moments when a child, because I was skinny for most of my life. So I'll bring up my experience and then I'll link it back to Lotto. For the longest, most of my life, I was really skinny. The most that I weighed was 120 pounds. And once I got into like my mid 20s, I started, putting on little weight, slowly but surely putting on a little bit more weight. But when I was skinny, I remember at that time, BBLs wasn't big during that time. I am a millennial. It wasn't about BBLs. BBLs was more so once I literally got I would say it started to be a little bit more normalized when I was like in my mid 20s and then obviously up until now too. So girls, like, the natural look was really being pushed during the millennial generation. But one thing was, they wanted you to still have some curves. And I literally was like a pencil. I didn't really have big boobs. I didn't really have booty like that. I was an athlete, so I was very active. So I had a more athletic type of body. And I remember I always wanted booties was not pushed during that time. It was really about boobs at that time. Now, what was going on during that time? Girls was getting breast implants, and that's what was being pushed. It wasn't the booty thing. So, and I really wanted boobs. And I didn't have boobs, so I definitely could relate to Lotto. And when she says that, she had money, she had time, she was feeling insecure about her body, and of course, she probably saw all these other artists getting BBLs, and all these models getting BBLs, and now the average Joe lady got BBLs. So BBLs, you get a BBL, you get a BBL, everybody get a BBL. So I definitely could see how she fed into that, and she wanted to perfect herself, and especially being in Hollywood, it's always about looking young and doing the latest, having the latest fashion and looking like you live in a fast life and all of this. And particularly when it comes to the Black and brown community, you don't really see that so much with the white community like that. You don't really see that as much. But for whatever the reason, when it comes, I should just say about Black people, because even when you talk about the brown communities, they be dabbling in it a little bit, but they don't really be doing it like that. But it seems to be more towards the black people in Hollywood and stuff that really be in it. But again, everybody does it, but it seems like they really hyper focus on um the Black media, really focuses on that, and even white media as well focuses on that. So I definitely understand and can relate to how she felt pressure on that. Like, and you're a woman in general, you're a young girl growing up in general anyway, you're going to have your own insecurities about yourself. And why not? If you have the money, would you tweak something on your body? Would you keep your body how it is, or would you perfect it if you have, to your liking, if you have the money? So it really is what you really want to do. But I definitely understand where she's coming from on that. And I'm glad that she's speaking out about this. I'm also glad for the other women that are actually reversing their BBLs and talking about their BBLs, how it's uncomfortable and things like that. You got the lovely K Michelle, you have the Black China, talking about, reversing the BBLs and things like that. Those are the ladies I could think of the top of my head that has been very boisterous, although there's been others as well talking about, the BBLs and just other cosmetic procedures that they have. Now you have people talking about the fillers, how, Claudia Jordan spoke about her fillers. I think Kylie Jenner spoke about her fillers as well. A lot of women now, they're reversing a lot of things that they did because they felt insecure, they felt peer pressured. And I just want society to stop, pointing out people's flaws, because you really could drive people down on the deep end. And then that's when we get the botch body, body parts and the faces and things like that. So we want to be a little bit more mindful. Like, it goes a long way to say something positive and to point out, hey, you look good, or, what it compared to, pointing out everybody flaws 24/7. Like, come on now. And it doesn't matter. You don't have to be a celebrity. It's just, it goes a long way to say a compliment. So that's what I want to say about that. What else do I want to talk about? Let's go on to the Chris Brown thing. Fat Joe has something to say. I thought this was interesting.
Let me tell you something. I got to get to this Chris Brown show. If Chris Brown never got into the controversy with Rihanna, we would be calling him Michael Jackson right now. Not like Michael Jackson, Michael Jackson. He is the most talented singer, artist, performer, hit maker of our time. There's nobody even close to Chris Brown. And it's time we move past it. It's been 20-something years that I know of. There's no more incidents. Man, we're going to let this lifetime go by without saying the truth. And so what happens is, when the truth is an unpopular decision, everybody gets scared to say it. They get canceled, especially famous people or somebody like that, right? But, the streets, they know what it is. Streets always know. They tell you the truth. There's the streets still bumping R. Kelly. He's in jail. He did terrible things. They still bumping R. Kelly. So What I'm trying to say is that it's a shame that we lying and we're not giving it up to the king of R&B, the king of music. I mean, the Michael Jackson, we be thinking he could battle Michael Jackson. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not lying. If you really look at his body of work and you look at all his hits, you see what he does, you remove from your mind that we don't like it. We don't like that he had a controversy. We don't like that. We don't condone the queens. We out here to protect the queens. We get that. He was a little kid 20-something years ago. Yo, let me tell you something. I got to get to this Chris Brown show.
Go ahead and unpack this, okay? Let me go ahead and unpack this. And I'm actually going to come to the screen real quick because first off, I want to say I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. I grew up on Michael Jackson, especially if you're a 90s kid, you grew up with the whole the video countdown, the 106 Parks, the fuses, the VH1s, all of that. That was the highlight of art. We couldn't wait to get home and go watch the music videos and then try to do their dances. And that's when you really had to dance, okay? You really have to know how to dance. It was like an 8 count and more. So, yeah. So, and I'm a Chris Brown fan as well. I agree with everything Fat Joe has said, and I've said this more than once on my channel. I really feel like it really is time for us to move on. Although, Fat Joe, I do have to correct you. Chris Brown has gotten to other altercations outside of Rihanna. It doesn't help that he went through a period where he was a hothead and he was fighting people, fighting guys and, getting into arguments online and things like that. So, but the industry is time, because nobody is putting out music how Chris Brown is. Nobody is really going on tours. I don't even think, when's the last time Chris Brown has taken a break? He literally tours every year. He tours every year. On top of that, his dancing abilities, he's an artist, he's an actor, he's a writer, he writes people music. Okay. He's a vocalist. Like, he does so many things. Like, he has his own shoe line, his own little clothing line thing going on. He has his investment properties. He really is an all around smart businessman. He owns his own masters. He's about his business. And when we talk about, what Michael Jackson brought to the table, brought to the culture, and let's not forget, when Michael Jackson was alive, Michael Jackson basically anointed Chris Brown and was watching Chris Brown and called him and everything like that. So, for the people that didn't know, that's too young to remember, Michael Jackson definitely saw talent in Chris Brown and basically was goading him. And when you think about the two comparisons, now there was evidence on Chris Brown. Michael always have them allegations about the child stuff and things like that, whether you guys believe it's true or not. He still had those allegations and people shunned him because of that. And he kind of like, he didn't fall off, but he fell off to a certain extent. And he was going to make a comeback with the This Is It tour, but then unfortunately he passed away. Okay. And I believe if he would have been able to make it, he would have been able to get back where he was. I really do. So that is like kind of the similarity Chris Brown has, but for whatever the reason, Chris Brown cannot get back up there as what he should. And this is why I really feel like corporate America, the powers that be, they, for whatever the reason, because Chris Brown is really about his business, he's not about people being vultures on him. That is why they are not willing to risk and push him as they should push him, because he's not willing to share the pie with them, and rightfully so. If you could keep most of your money, if not all your money, rather than, compared to like being pushed mainstream and having even more opportunities, but you got such a cult following, a core following, it really doesn't matter. It basically is like, F you to the guys. I'm going to be successful whether you guys like it or not. And they don't like it. And that's why, he doesn't get the opportunities that he should, meaning he should be performing at award shows. There's no reason why he doesn't have brand deals. There's no reason why his brand that he has is not pushed on mainstream like that. there's no reason why he's not receiving. I don't know, but this is just speculation. So I'm gonna say this is allegedly, but there's no reason why he hasn't been in more films than what he has been in. Okay, because he was acting before all of that, stuff. Rihanna stuff went on. Karuchi stuff went on. You know, incidents he had with other people went on. Okay, so. Whew, you want to make sure you guys are doing your research when you're talking about that. But when we talk about the star power, when we talk about the dedication, the perfectionism, the raw talents, if we're talking about a male artist, it definitely nobody is beating Chris Brown. Chris Brown is that next person on the throne, okay? The next person on the throne. But because of all that negative cloud that's around him, unfortunately, I don't know if we're ever going to see him receive his flowers and his contribution to music in other areas. And as I mentioned before, Chris Brown has put on, he doesn't mind working with someone that is a new artist. He's a very humble person. He respects his art and he respects creativity. And if you are a person, you have something of interest he wants to jump on, he's going to do it. And sometimes he do it for free. Sometimes he writes for people for free. He said that in interviews before. So I really would like us to be a little bit more mindful and receptive, because I really do believe in, we only have this life to live in, right? I'm not going to get too spiritual with you guys. If you believe in reincarnation, you have another opportunity, but that does not mean you're going to be that same person. You're going to be a totally different person. You could come back, maybe not even a person. Maybe you're an insect, maybe you're an animal, whatever it is, okay? But if we're being honest, we need to give Chris Brown his flowers and everything that he does. And especially the people in the industry need to fight for him a little bit more. You do have people that are vocal and will say stuff about Chris Brown that are A-listers, but a lot of people is mute. And he does a lot of good work for a lot of people. And he doesn't get enough credit and enough support that I would like to see, being a Breezy fan. And but Fat Joe is absolutely correct. But if we're being honest, when it comes to breaking down Michael Jackson's star power, Michael Jackson had people faking over him, had people, stalking him. Chris Brown has stalkers too. But, like that undivided love internationally, I think the only person that really has that right now is Beyonce. That's not to rain on Chris Brown parade. If he did not have that, negative cloud over him with the Rihanna and the other ladies, he would literally be, he'll slide on into that throne. MJ left. But because of that, I'm not denying he's still on the throne. He's still in the royal family. He's still at the top. Ain't nobody touching Beyonce. Ain't nobody touching Chris Brown. But if we being real, if y'all were around the time when Michael was alive, and like this craziness of his fans will have towards him and the things they will do and will ride for him, the Beehive is stronger than the Breezy team, if we're being 100% honest. Because if the Breezy team, and don't get me wrong, the Breezy team be riding hard for Chris Brown, but it ain't hard enough. It needs to be harder, because there's no reason why he should not be mainstream. I don't care if he's independent. There's no reason why. Period. There's no reason why. So, but it definitely is Beyonce. So I will say, it's like, if you could combine both of them, that will be the next baby, But it's like Chris Brown definitely has the dancing. He has, the vocal range like MJ, the talent, the undeniable talent, that it factor, all of that. But then you got Beyonce, you got the sweetness that Michael Jackson had, right? You got the charmingness that Michael Jackson had. And you also have that undying kind of psycho fan base Beyonce has. So that is what I see with the two. But at the same time, Beyonce's talented too. She could sing her ass off and things like that. But I mean, if we're being honest, she can't really sell nothing else. But if Chris Brown didn't have that cloud over him, everything he puts out, he collaborates with, he sells, it sells out. But mainstream don't be letting y'all know. If y'all not a Breezy fan, you're not gonna know that, but it does. So you got that. Michael Jackson was able to sell out, you know, he had the Pepsi stuff. He was able to sell out anything that he decided to do brand deals and things on. It sold out. So, you know, they got qualities of him. They definitely have the influence of him. Both of them both idolize him. They both respect him. You know, Michael loved Beyonce. Loki, I feel like he had a crush on Beyonce. He loved Beyonce. You know, he loved Chris Brown too. He was able to have more of a relationship with Beyonce than Chris Brown because you know, what was going on scheduling and things like that. Chris Brown was a child when he met him and things like that. He actually met him. I think Michael Jackson had called him. And for you guys that don't know that you know, question me being an MJ fan, I had this picture here since I was in high school. Hold on. Boom. Who's that right there? That's Michael Jackson. All right. Don't play with me. I've always been an MJ fan. So that's my take on that. What do you guys feel about that? I would love to hear y'all feedback on that. Now, the next thing, we're going to talk about Lil Uzi Vert. We're going to talk about Lil Uzi and how I personally feel like he is the next Prince. Okay, he is the Prince of this generation. What I mean by that is definitely not the music, right? I mean, Lil Uzi does have very entertaining music and is very cute. But at the same time, too, what I mean by he is the next Prince is how Prince was in touch with his divine feminine energy. He did not mind wearing clothes that was kind of sketchy, meaning, you know, like a woman will wear them. And he still made them sexy. He still had women that was on him. He still had sex appeal. He was charming. He was that, and he embraced, like, he was a very androgynous man. And that's what Little Uzi Vert is. To me, I feel like he's a little combination of Dennis Rodman and Prince mixed together. That would be the baby if they were able to have a baby. It'll be Little Uzi Vert. But let's go ahead so I can share with you guys what people was up in an uproar about his campaign with Marc Jacobs. And I think it's cute. He is so cute. His little purse, okay. That's a cute little purse. And look at these photos. I love when he smiles. He has such a contagious smile. Beautiful, beautiful smile. I like this earlier in the day. I do want to read this comment. It says he really knows how to get to his bag. He not letting nothing stop him. I love that for him. Haters gonna always hate and have something to say because they're not getting to the bag. And this is my comment. This is my, oh, I didn't know you could do that. You can literally see how much people have. But this is what a comment I put. I love when he smiles. Some of y'all are not going to agree, but he's the modern day Prince. Who said something here? Oh, somebody deleted it or somebody I blocked. At this point, it's been years since he's been like this. Why is this still news and outrage? Or y'all expecting something different from him/them? Move along. I'm on like that. Heebie-jeebies, I like, plus no Uzi slander. I'ma just say Cat Williams ain't telling not one lie. They gon' KP making a mockery out of black men every time. Please take me back to the 90s and early 2000s when men behave like men. Every chance they get to embarrass us, they take full advantage. Lord, they're not. Okay, I think it's cute, and I think it's fashionable. I don't think nothing's wrong with it. I feel like he is the baby of Prince and Dennis Rodman, and I said what I said. Okay, now let's go on to Marlon Wayans. Marlon Wayans is not playing with y'all in his photo shoot. You know, June is Pride Month, and he is celebrating and being an ally to the LGBTQ plus community. And he basically said, "Screw all of y'all. Stop talking about him. Stop saying, you know, stop categorizing him, and be a fruity in the booty when he is not. He is literally showing his support because he has a child that is a trans child, and he wanted to do this photo shoot in honor of his baby. So he said, yeah, and just for the hate mongers, I'm posting another. As a father of a child in the LGBTQ plus community, I show my support. Zero fucks what people think. If I lost you, good. Your hateful ass never loved me in the first place. How can you love anyone when you're too busy? What did he say? When you're too busy judging. Some of y'all funny. I'm a troll. I'll post all day. Happy Pride to all my friends, fans, and loved ones. I'm happy you're happy. Period. And that's what it should be. Okay. He said, happy Pride to all my LGBTQ people. Did a photo shoot with the great photographer, Paris Lewis. Go pick. Good grief. On Prime Video now. Watch it this Father's Day. P.S. I'm straight. Well, according to my child, cisgender. I just love and support my peoples. Okay. So I don't see anything wrong with that. Now, I'm not going to lie. You know, they always speculated in Hollywood that, you know, maybe he was bisexual or whatever. I never felt that way. I grew up on him watching him show his show with his brothers and movies and things like that. I love the Wayans family. I think, you know, the Wayans has definitely opened up doors and broke down barriers when it comes to Black people working in the Hollywood space, and actually, you know, showing that they could be A-listers and that they're funny, and then they could take serious roles, and they are worth marketing to and actually investing in. And I support the Wayans family, and I love Marlins. He is extremely helpful. And this is another thing we need to unpack being a Black person is, okay, it is 2024. We need to get out of this phase where, you know, I want to be in denial about my child being a part of the community. It's like, you know, at the end of the day, you might not agree with your child choice, but that's still your child, and love your child. You don't have to agree with what they're saying. Just set boundaries within one another. But I love to see, especially a Black man, because you don't see that enough with Black fathers. You definitely see more Black mothers be more supportive and accepting of their children that is a part of the community compared to Black men. And that is not to belittle Black men. That is just an experience that I have experienced and that I have seen in within the community. Okay. And what I mean by that, what I've experienced, I'm talking about what I've seen. I've seen, you know, some of my Black male friends or maybe relatives, you know, it was a little bit, you know, more resistive on being accepting of them compared to if, you know, like, because I'm a part of the community compared to like me or like a cousin or something like that, or you know, or one of my girlfriends and things like that. So you definitely see that there is this like layer in the Black community. Oh, I don't want a gay child. But it's like, we're in 2024. Instead of you and you know your negative Nancy beliefs, why don't you try loving your child and understanding your child, and you know, being a support system and really understanding what it's like to be in the community, because it's not easy. Even though there is a lot of rights for the LGBTQ plus community, there still is a lot of barriers that the community has to unpack and have to overcome. And the last thing that they need is you disowning them, or you mistreating them, or you feeling some type of way, or you putting your feelings and your beliefs on them when they clearly are not happy with what you are trying to project on them. You know, life will be a little bit more easier for them and yourselves if you stop being resistive and you just literally learn how to coexist and how to be accepting and love. But you know, you're always going to have some people that are haters. You're always going to have some people that aren't going to necessarily understand or really don't care to understand and will be perfectly happy not talking to their children. But I do want to say, I support this. I support when I see Black families coming together and supporting their Black children, because it definitely is a difference between our counterparts. When they come out, they have all this support, all this stuff, resources, all of that, compared to the Black community, Black and brown community. And I just needed to stop. Okay. Now, next topic I want to talk about, the Nipsey Hussle. Poor Nipsey Hussle. So here we go.
Disrespected. They don't do that too. Yeah, I mean, that's my homie, you know what I mean? That's my friend. That's my friend. So for me to have to cover it up, it hurt me. Yeah. It hurt me, and I know y'all love out there, put them around the city for people to enjoy them. Yeah. And they want to come tag their man vibe, and I'm gonna kill them. I'm kill them at night, doing some other shit. Yeah. So to benefit my life, I gotta cover it up. That's crazy. That's the thing. They disrespected.
Okay, so Nipsey Hussle friend Cowboy decided to cover up his mural after it was vandalized. They disrespected him. And for you guys that don't know who Cowboy is definitely, he was affiliated. He actually was one of he was one of Nipsey's OGs in his gang. So if you guys don't know 60s LA, I'm definitely a LA baby. I know that. Listen, I'm not a part of no gang, but just know I know, you know, that for being LA and living in LA County and things like that, cities around LA. Yes. Nipsey has definitely been a staple in LA. There's nowhere in LA that you cannot find some kind of influence of Nipsey Hussle. Or picture or mural, whatever you want to say. Like, you literally driving down the street, you hear somebody play Nipsey, you know. So even though he's not here in the flesh, he definitely is still felt in the city. Now, if I'm being honest, he's not as felt as he once was, because it's only a matter of time before people start their foolishness and start being disrespectful and not giving a damn, especially new gang members and things like that. I don't know what it is. I literally feel like after like my parents' generation, because I'm a millennial. I don't know the generation, you know, my parents, I don't know what that is. I need to look up the different generations. But it seems like for whatever it is, I don't know if it's the millennials or after us, but they don't have the same code of ethics when it comes to being a gang member. You know, there's certain things I remember growing up as in the 90s, especially in LA. And I'm just gonna be honest, my dad was involved in, you know, that lifestyle and things like that. So, and my uncles and you know, just know that I know that. So, like, but there was like a certain thing, like there's let me just break this down for you guys real quick. I'm gonna stop sharing. Okay, this is coming from an LA native. So, and one thing I want to clear up with, y'all gotta stop saying that LA people are fake. What I need you guys to be a little bit more mindful of and understanding is a lot of people come to move to California, to especially Southern California. So 9 times out of 10, you need to ask, and you really need to ask that person, are you a LA native? Because we are not rude. We are not fake. The real LA natives is not fake. I'm not going to say that there aren't some fake people that are LA natives, but like LA natives in general, we're very nice, very receptive. We do have our own swag. We do have our own attitude and things like that. And we do have, you know, our own, you know, boundaries and things like that. But most of the time, when you really I always hear, you know, LA people are fake. And I'm like, is that a LA transplant or is that a LA native? So that's one thing I want to clear up. Um, Another thing that I want to clear up is LA is a big city, but LA County encompasses so many other cities in there. So you guys need to know the dynamics of that for the people that is not from Southern California and don't know that. Okay. So there are a lot of cities that are in LA County. Okay. All right. So, but what I want to say is like the gangs, like when I was growing up, because I'm a millennial, there was a code of ethics. You never did no shootouts around no kids. If you did do shootouts around kids, somebody got tagged or sprayed, the mama, whatever, you eventually got in trouble by that gang. And sometimes you end up getting, okay. I remember that. Okay. I don't know if that still operates in some of these gangs and things like that, but that definitely was one of the things. Okay. Another thing is if a gang member had their child around them, they weren't going to tag you, but they basically warned you and said, hey, you got this amount of time to get up out of this neighborhood, blah, blah, blah. Don't get me wrong. There are some instances where, depending on what you did, you know, to that rival gang, sometimes people got popped in front of their kids, but that was rare. And you really have to get approval from the OGs in the gangs. Okay. And again, I'm not bragging about this. I'm just trying to break it down. This is literally what it used to be like. And it seems like it's taken a turn. And on top of that too, the gangs really protected the people that was in that area. So gangs basically their sanctions. Okay, there's areas, you know, that's their territory, you know, and then once you cross a certain territory, you may be in a whole different gang territory. Okay, or that could be their ally gang, because you do have ally gangs too. So, and sometimes they want to expand a territory, so they will become allies and things like that. So You'll have that. But like they really protected the children. And honestly, the gang members back then, like growing up, they always told us to stay in school. They looked out for other people's kids. They looked out, for the single mamas and things like that. They really were nice and sweet. And when you really talk to some of these gang members, they really didn't have like a fighting chance. And a lot of them are highly intelligent. And don't get me started breaking down, the essays, the Asian gangs, the triad gangs, the Bloods and the Crips, because we could go on to the intellectual abilities, but a lot of them were very talented. If they weren't scholastically talented and just didn't have the opportunities, because most of the time they join these gangs, sometimes they don't even want to join it, but they join it for safety reasons. And sometimes they join it because they just want to get into some shit and they really want to be trouble. But a lot of the times, gangs are formed in areas where there is not a lot of resources for them to thrive. Okay. Rather than scouts coming in and getting kids out from, to go to school, if you're not in those type of areas where scouts come, you playing sports or scholastically, you don't have a fighting chance, and then, they don't get opportunities for music classes, for home ec classes, for automated classes, learning how to drive legally, things like that. They don't get those same opportunities. So, they end up getting involved in stuff, especially if they are come from a single parent home. They don't want their mom or their dad to just be, the only person bringing in the money. There is this overwhelming guilt that they have, and then they get involved in drugs and other things to try to bring money back into it. The end of the day, when you really break down gangs, it's really to try to better themselves, but the way they do it is illegal. And then you got the people that's just your troublemakers. They want to fight, they want to shoot, bang bang, shoot them up. That's just what it is. But you got to learn how to operate in these areas and things like that. And a lot of people think it's sweet when they be coming out of town and be coming up in, especially in LA, and it's like you got to check in. Now that's one thing that has stayed the same. You do got to check in with these gangs, otherwise you could get robbed, set up, and killed, and that's just what it is. So I'm just breaking down. This is what I've seen, because as I mentioned earlier, I've seen this stuff. I didn't want to be involved in that type of stuff, and because I was luckily provided opportunities and different living situations, so I didn't get involved and caught up in that stuff. But I'll be a fool to be sitting here and say that I didn't know the ins and out of stuff. But that is also, I'm a classic case and living proof. Just because you may have lived in an impoverished area, if you really are determined and you don't want to be involved in that type of lifestyle, you don't need to be a part of that type of lifestyle, especially if you have family members or friends that's a part of that, that's ensuring that you don't get involved in that type of lifestyle. You do what you need to do and you thrive and you be successful. Okay, that's not to belittle any gangs or anything like that, but you do what you need to do. I knew that wasn't a part of my lifestyle because I didn't like what it did at the end of the day to, those beautiful men and women that joined those those gangs. I don't like it. So, and it is what it is, but I respect it. That's why I move around. Ain't nobody has touched me in LA and anything like that. But, I respect it, but that's not my cup of tea. I respect your decision, but that's not my cup of tea. But yeah, so I definitely understand why Cowboy, because Cowboy was Nipsey Hussle OG, he was one of his OGs, why he got tired of people tagging and disrespecting Nipsey Hussle mural, and that's why he took it down. And he said he took it down for himself because that was his friend. And literally, what he basically was saying in code is, if he catch you tagging that mural again, you gonna get popped. And he don't want to go to jail, and he just don't want to do that. So for him, for his peace, you got to respect his peace. And he decided to take the mural down. He was the artist that created it, and rightfully so. Last time I've been to LA, I didn't see. Well, last time, I think in December, I drove past Nipsey's shopping center. They had fences. It was fence around it. You can't walk around it anymore. I don't know what it looks like now. That was in December of last year. I don't know what it looks like now, but I did know the community did not have access to, Nipsey, location as they once did. And I did see graffiti and stuff on that block. So, it's just, when you're from LA, there could be somebody in that neighborhood that really is uplifting people and, has these, I'm not going to say they're treaties, but kind of they have these agreements with these gangs and other businesses around there and stuff like that, that this is a safe zone. Y'all can't be doing y'all ruggish stuff. If you need help, come on, I'll help you. And, but once that person pass away, it's going to hold on for so long, and then it's going to go right back to how it was. So, I mean, are we really surprised that there are people in the community that's disrespecting the mural? No. If you're from LA, you would know like that it eventually was going to happen, because Nipsey is not here. It doesn't matter if Lauren or Nipsey brother is there and family, his sister is there, his children. At the end of the day, they're not Nipsey. Okay, they wasn't a part of that gang life and anything like that. And it just, well, I'm not going to say they weren't a part of it, but they're not him. So at the end of the day, it's going to eventually go back to what was going on over there, which was, chaos to a certain extent. So, but I just want y'all to be a little bit more protective of, when we do have somebody that is willing to help the children, help the men, help the women in the community, we need to protect them a little bit more. We need to, make sure, their legacy still lives and we don't disrespect it. And it doesn't matter if you're in a gang or not. You just leave certain areas alone, and respect the dead. And stop thinking, oh, I'm going to show off or I'm going to do this. I'm trying to do something out of the box. At the end of the day, you're looking like a clown, because he was respected and loved by a lot of different peoples, a lot of different communities. And it's unfortunate that we were robbed the opportunity to see the greatness, more greatness that he was given to the community, and he was willing to stand 10 toes down in his hood and to give back to his neighborhood. And there's not a lot of Black people that's willing to do that, and we need to protect those people that is willing to do that, because the ain't doing it. They putting stuff in their neighborhood to keep us like that. So it's like, come on, and it's very frustrating to see that, that beautiful piece of art be taken away because you guys don't know how to freaking act. And it's really ridiculous. Grow up. And you gangs, you newer gang members and stuff like that, no disrespect to y'all, but y'all need, if some of them OGs is still alive, y'all need to be listening to some of them OGs. Y'all need to really be implementing the code of ethics, and y'all need to, really respect it. Okay, if you're gonna go ahead and give your life to being a gangbanger and whatever you want to do, like, at least keep the core values and the respect values that was once upheld, because it doesn't seem like it's upheld, because there are certain things like, this whole Nipsey thing, back in the day nobody would ever fucking tag that, but y'all new age people is stupid. Why would you do that? And it's just certain things I see that you guys just don't care. You don't care. You're gonna kill a little kid, you're gonna kill the mama, you're gonna kill, like, you don't there is no type of respect and decorum and politics that they once had. And it's like, if you're gonna indulge in that type of behavior that really is not good for anybody, for yourself, and conducive for the environment and neighborhood, at least please get some respect back in what you guys once had. Okay. I don't condone any violence. I really strongly suggest, if you could get out of your neighborhood, or you could find a program to get out of your neighborhood that could put you in a different district or a different living situation, I strongly recommend you guys do that. Being in a gang is not the way to go. If you got a talent, perfect that talent, Find free classes in your neighborhood. If you got to get on a bus, you got to get on a train, you do that. There are some organizations, they will give you a bus pass, give you tokens, well, I don't think we use tokens anymore, but give you vouchers, okay, for the taxi and stuff, for you to be involved in stuff. If you got the talent, you got the intellectual ability, there is always a program you could get involved in. There really is no reason for you to do what you need to do. And if you don't know what to do, go to your local city hall. You can always look up online and go to your local library. They always have resources in there. And trust me, there's some cute little old lady in there that's willing to help you, get on a computer. And, if you really want to do better for yourself, you're going to do better. Okay. You really are. And it is what it is. Okay. Have I talked about everything for tonight? I talked about Chris Brown. I talked about Uzi Vert. I talked about Latto. I talked about Nipsey Hussle. Okay. Marlon Wayans. I talked about Marlon Wayans as well. All right. That is it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the hot topics. I love you. I would love to hear your feedback. How do you guys feel about anything I talked about? Make sure you like the video, and I will see you guys soon. Peace and blessings as always, and be safe in these streets. And remember, nobody got you but you, and you are a beautiful being, and the sky is the limit for you. You got to believe it and always apply yourself. Okay. Bye.